Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Bebop here. Today we're going to be going over Lazarus, the dungeon that is in Reekwater. And I'm going to show you on the map where it is real quick. If you take a look, there's a Lazarus shrine a little bit up above the main town here. And this is a level 60 dungeon. This is the regular one. So if you're new to it, I'm going to show you how to run it. I will be tanking. I will be greatsword tanking. So I will have a series going over the mutations whenever I get done with this series. And I also will be showing every mutation from different angles, from tanking perspective to DPS and healing. So be on the lookout for that. Now, Lazarus is all ancient enemies, okay? So there's two bosses in here that do not have backs. So if you have rogue on your DPS weapon, you will not actually use rogue. It will not get it to proc on both the enemies. Now, that being said, before we get started, the last boss, there is a hand glitch strat that a lot of people are using right now. I suspect it will be fixed before Aeternum fully comes out, or by the time. So technically he's not supposed to have a back. So the rogue thing, the hand strat, I get it for veterans. This is for new people. Hey, and welcome in. So we need to make sure we have vicious on our DPS weapons, at least for those boss fights. And make sure if you're a spear or greatsword or whatnot, you go 350 dex, and that way you get the most criticals from that final dot, which is 15% chance to critical while empowered. Now, ancient ward pots, make sure you have your ancient trophies up in the home. Make sure you have your ancient coatings. Make sure you have your food. Make sure you brought some skill from the marketplace. Oh, you scrub over there. All right, so if you haven't seen tanking with the greatsword before, it is actually my favorite way to tank. So especially in this first room. Now, you lose 10% damage for all your teammates because you don't have sword and shield, which will give you a leadership of 10% bonus damage for all your teammates. But I love the movement of the greatsword in this first room. So even in mutated dungeons, I'll use greatsword in this first room. That way I can get out of the doors that I'm about to go up to, and you will see why. So this group, you always want to pull right here to where the archer was, and this is where you mow the, enemies down. Now, healer, you got to be careful not to throw a beacon on the tank or anything, because if he takes a hit, you will catch all the aggro. Up here, there will be a series of letters above each door, okay, and they coincide with the circles on the ground that the healer is going to be standing in. Healer's always going to be back there working the circles, occasionally coming up, throwing down the oblivion for extra empowerment. And tank, you want to try to position yourself with your back up against the door here. That way all the enemies turn toward you and start hitting you away from the DPS. And after the third wave, you want to relentless rush or get to the second door, because those enemies will spawn perfectly right there. It was a great example of how they will spawn and go rushing right at the healer. You do not want that to happen. So make sure you're paying attention to how many waves there are, unlike what I did, and keep your back toward the wall here. Now I am away. I'm going to use relentless rush. Another great thing about the greatsword is I can reposition myself just fine. And the healer's working on the third wave here. Let's go ahead and get aggro on everything. Hammer and greatsword, or hammer and sword and shield. You'd normally just be on the hammer in this area, but if you have to reposition yourself, that's what the greatsword is so good for. Now, there will be a set of letters, as you just saw on the ground. Now, they go with the letters that appear above the door, and basically just step on each letter that appears, and it will open for the next wave of enemies to come out. After 3 waves, then you go to the second door, and then you just saw what happens. So in this room, you can pull all these mobs right here while someone gets the gatherable. Tanks, try to make sure you aggro early so they don't go running over there to the person on the gatherable. Now, when you run this in mutations, a lot of times people will skip this room by going on the far left and coming down here so you don't pull all the mobs, just to, get through it a little bit faster. Very important right here. All the DPS, or at least one, especially with the spear, want to go to the archer. Okay, Now, the tank will be right here. The archer's not his problem. That would be the DPS for protecting the healer. As you saw, the DPS went right over there, and the healer is safe with me. Now, there are a lot of times people will come around that corner up there, shoot the archer, and bring him toward. Don't do that. A lot of people will not be used to that method that's been playing for a while. Do it the way I showed you here. Once you learn that, you'll be set up for mutations a lot better. Always pull this enemy inside with these to the archer. You always want to pull to the archer, because the archer in this dungeon, especially ancient archers, pretty much in every dungeon that they're in, I mean, they just one-shot everybody. They are just insanely strong all the dang time. Absolutely for no reason, but they are insanely strong. So, next enemy is right here. I'm going to basically show you the easy way, and then when I do the mutation series, I'll show you the way mutation people do it. But you got two archers, one on the right, one on the left. Now, you can aggro the one on the right. You could try to group them up as good as you can with the great sword there. Now, someone with the great axe will reap. Look at that reap. That was perfect right there. And see how we have them grouped up like that? It gets me excited, bro. Nindy, good job on that reap, dude. And grab whatever. Woo, man, that was nice. Now, someone will go talk to the snake boss over there. It'll be the first boss, but you're not going to fight her yet. You talk to her and you wake up these other enemies. When that person comes back across the bridge, these enemies will spawn. Now, up top where the stairs are to my right, two archers will spawn when someone walks past those two little small steps that are in the corner of the screen. And you got to be careful because they will aim at the healer instantly. So, come across, what you can do, grab aggro on them, hide behind this rock, it will bring them down every time, and now you can come over here and kill them. Now, if you have someone that's really good with the great axe, then you can reap them down. Once this archer's killed, you can take the other mob up. He's not a big threat. You don't have to kill him right there. I did the weakest little hit on him. Oh my god, what was that, Bebop? Take that. All right, pull those archers together. Tank, you could choose to come on this side or the other side. To me, I say don't go on the side that I went on, because the DPS need to be able to get to that archer to do damage. And if you're over there with the boss hidden that direction or whatnot, you're going to put DPS in a bad situation. So you would basically have pulled that on the opposite side. Now, right here, pay attention. Pull that archer that's on the right up there by the stairs. Now hide behind the wall to line of sight him, LOS him, and now the tank can come out here and start pulling mobs. You can do it the traditional way that new players do it and take all these mobs back behind the stairs, but if you learn this method, this will set you up for M3s down the road. It's faster and it's better. What you need to go up there to do is cleanse your hands. You're washing your hands, and that will spawn the next wave of enemies. Now, tank, always keep your back to basically the way y'all came in, so everybody else can DPS. It basically hitting the enemy's back. Be careful because there is an archer that spawns on the stairs to our left. You can see him sitting down right there. If he gets aggroed by anybody going up the stairs to cleanse their hand, he will kill the healer instantly. You have to account for him and group him up. Either someone with a spear or your evade rapier can go over there and take care of him just fine. So be careful of that. Now, when you come up here to wash your hands, all you got to do is click E and then boom, dodge out. Now on controller, I don't know what you click. Probably square or whatever it is, and then you just instantly roll. You don't have to wait for the whole load. Now we go fight the first boss. This boss, once again, does not have a back, so if you have rogue on your weapons, it will not proc. You want to try to get as many criticals on this boss as you can. This boss has a lot of physical armor, so your damage, you will see, goes down quite a bit, and the amount of criticals you get really kind of suck. So if you can get to 350 dex, if you're set up with those weapons, do that. You can have a separate set that when you come into this boss fight, your spear goes from 350 strength to 350 dex, but I'll show all that later on with the mutation guide. Now, I'm greatsword tanking her in high level mutations like M3s, not recommended. Sword and shield would be way better. Plus, you'd give your teammates the 10% leadership bonus damage, and you need all the damage you can get against this boss because it's kind of a slow kill. Now you can do it with a great sword, but when she stacks up, if you look at the above her health bar, you see the stacks, see a 12 right there, and then now 13. Once that gets to 25, she's hitting hella hard, okay? Here's what happens. If you put the orb down that's up right now, if you put those orbs down early, before, let's say she gets to 10 stacks or 15 stacks, and you get through 3 phases of that, she's going to start spawning arcane damage and shooting these arcane balls at you, and it really will suck, okay? You can get through this boss without really ever seeing that mechanic. I haven't seen that mechanic since I think we first started running, Lazarus way back 3 years ago. So keep that orb up. All tanks should be able to stack up to 25 stacks and take it. So if you can't do that, which at first you might not be able to, I get it, but I will show you how to do that later on. She will randomly throw a javelin at the healer or anybody that's ranged, so they need to be careful and pay attention to that. Now we teleport across. Someone with a musket should have double traps set in their skill tree. You could do it with 2 ice pylons also, but with the musket, someone should always have a musket when they're going in Laz, which most of the veterans that are going to be running with y'all probably will have a musket on them. Go into the skill tree, set it where you can do the 2 traps, and when you step on these buttons up here, it's a timed event that's coming up. You'll step on the button and you will put the trap down. Then you'll go up to the middle and do the same, and everybody go up top. And then when you step on the button, the gates will close, enemies will spawn, and then you go through waves and waves of enemy. It's a timed event, okay? I forgot exactly. I think it's 2 minutes it starts off at. And then you want to try to kill as many mobs as you can to help build your mob count, because in the mutations, you will be scored upon that. I'll go over that later when I do that series. But in the regular, it just makes it easier for everybody to survive, and it just creates less confusion. Just tell everybody to go up top. If not, you would have to do 2 people on the first wave, 2 people on the last, and the tank in the middle. Right there, what you see is what happens a lot of times when people step on the button too damn soon up top. Well, this kind of gives you a good perspective. If you're a tank here, basically you just wait for the other doors to open, your other teammates to come in, and then you aggro all the mobs, and you'll pull them to one of the doors. Actually, the door I'm looking at right there. I'm going to start over and show you how it works again, how it's supposed to work with the traps. So let me die out, and we'll do it again. All right, round 2. Let's go. All right, so you're going to step on this button. You're going to throw that thingamajig right there. Then you're going to come up here. You're going to step on this button right here and throw another thingamajig. And then you're going to go up top. Are you not going to step on the dang button until everybody's up there? Now we can step on the button. And so everybody would be up here. And all we got to do is kill 3 waves of enemies. And the gates will open. And then we go downstairs to the middle. And we kill mobs and mobs and mobs. This will help build up the mob count. Now, if you were going to speed run this in a mutation, there's a way to do it where you can do it with 1 person coming in here, putting the 2 traps down, stepping on the plate, killing the first 2 mobs, and then hiding in the corner to the right. And, that's later on. That's more advanced strat, but it can work that way too. Now, anytime there's an archer that spawns to the left door over there, one of the DPS need to go over there and kill that archer. The archer will aim at the healer pretty much every time and try to kill a healer. So you see the DPS going over there to take care of the archer. If it's a crawler or a swordsman, you can leave them. You don't even have to worry about them. Just don't roll over there to where you're going to aggro them. Tank, keep your back toward the door and try to keep aggro. Greatsword is insanely good for this spot right here because you get taunts all the time. And also if you relentless rush and then rupture, you will pull the enemies to you. So here you are. Now, after this, you're going to go you're basically going to go to the left upstairs. There's going to be 1 gatherable. There will also be a chest there, and you can feel free to grab that. But if you can see at the top right, there is a timer. Survive for 33 more seconds. So, might as well spawn until that's over. And this is just good weapon XP, so feel free to farm it. Now, when you get tired of doing that, you just come up top. Any other mobs that are aggro to anybody, they can line aside them. They can go around the walls over there, pull the enemies towards you, and kill them up here so you can get ready to go to the next area. The box is straight ahead of you is a loot box. The gatherable is to the left. It should be star metal. And right here, I was experiencing a little bit of lag, some internet issues. As you will see, it comes back to life, and I'm face planting into a wall. All right, now we got the loot box, we got the gatherable, and now we're coming over here to kill the next mobs. So aggro them, pull them up. DPS, watch out, because the crawlers usually will de-aggro right here and go after the healer. So tank, keep in mind of that. Also, right there, already one de-aggroed. Now I got to taunt again if I see that and try to get them mowed down. The healer can be working on the door upstairs to the left, and they can eventually just throw a heal whenever they have a chance when the cooldown's there. And that way we can get going to the next, part of the dungeon without any delay once these two are dead. Now they both drop a bag, so make sure you pick those up. This, if you remember, is the wash the hands room. The healer was not working on the door, so we will fire that healer after this runs over. Get in! Trash. About as trash as my internet. Good Lord. What's going on there? All right. Healer's just fine. Yeah. So here we go to this next room, and we're going to aggro these crawlers, all right? If you don't aggro these crawlers, they do have a chance. Rather, there's a platinum vein on the right that we just passed that the DPS are going to get. If you don't aggro those crawlers, they have a chance to break off and hit the guy that's mining that platinum. There's another platinum right there and a star metal to the left. Pull all these mobs up. Do not fight these mobs here. You're going to pull this into a pretty good sized pool, and you should be able to mow these guys down just fine. Now, there's the archer. I'm going to get the mobs, pull them to me. I was trying to make it to where the archer wouldn't be grabbed to me, but, in higher level mutations, if you could separate that archer so the DPS has clear line of sight and access to the archer, they can kill the archer, and then once that guy's dead, you can bring all the other mobs to this next room. Now, there is a gatherable there on the left that we just passed. You got to make sure you grab the crawler at the top left of where we are right now. Right here is basically, I believe, 3 more waves of enemies. So grab the enemies right here. Try to pull them to the archer. They usually are kind of slow getting there. So you just have to pay attention on where you are in your aggro tanks. So this guy usually stands up there. He's kind of a problem child. So you could try to reap with the great axe or with the great sword. But yeah, you want to try to group them together as best you can. And then once this mob's dead, there's going to be 3 more mobs spawn. 2 swordsmen. I go over here. I'm going to stand right here to grab aggro when they spawn. I hope we pulled that crawler over to the left. Oh my God, did we not? Oh, healer, you trash. Oh my God, pull the archer. I know she's watching the video, so I'm giving her shit. All right, grab that. Those 2 guys. This guy, and hey, we're gonna fight him right here. The next wave is gonna be 2 guys that you want to try to get them to both jump toward the middle. That way they meet in the middle and you can group them. Oh, there's one jump. Sometimes these guys will not jump towards you. You always want the healer and everybody stay close to the tank. Healers, if you're gonna heal, learn to stay close to the tank. It's actually probably going to be your safest spot. If you're out there alone up top, they will jump to you, and I'm not over there to help get aggro. And sometimes it's hard, especially if you're a sword and shield tank. You don't have the mobility as a great sword player would. So that healer is going to be out there hung to dry. Healer, stop running away from the tanks. Go to the tanks, and I will show that as I heal in mutations. So we're almost to the end of the dungeon. This next boss is super easy. This is where all tanks, listen up tanks, you need a DPS set for this dungeon. Right here, you should change to light gear and go as low con as you can. All you are from here on out is another DPS. Do not come in here heavy, or at least on the final boss, do not go in there heavy. Please do not do that. it is so important that you create a light set and you could DPS. Now, you want to DPS with the sword and shield. I don't care that you hit harder with your trenchant strikes hammer. That is not going to add DPS to the group. We're going to lose DPS because we don't have your leadership 10% extra damage ability that you would have on sword and shield. So get your sword and shield out, stay on that. Nothing else matters. We need the extra damage. But you want to be light, you want to be 350 strength, 25 int, and the rest in dex. Low as con as you can go that your set will allow you to. All right, we're going to wake up Chartis here. They've recently redone his health, and that's why it's so important for the tank to come in here as a light tank. I didn't have a set made for this, so I didn't follow my own rules here. But this guy's health is insanely large, especially in a M3 mutation. It is the worst boss fight in the game. It's not even close. So what he's going to do is do some attacks with his hand. Sometimes he will rush forward with his chest. So you want to make sure you get a skewer on him because people will get hit by his abilities. And right here, push it forward. And you got to back up, okay? You don't want to get hit by that. Learn his mechanics. So what he'll do when you get his health low enough is he will shoot basically a laser out, which you got to have one of those orbs that's being protected right now, and you will set that down on the one of the two pads behind me. And once you do that, I'll see if we didn't get the orb yet. All right, DPS, what the heck, babe? So you grab this orb, and I'm not going to do the hand strat here, but you can take the orb to the little platform here or on the left side. Normally people do the left side first when the hand strat wasn't a thing. He puts his head down in shame, and now you get double damage. So try to do as much as you can, get his health down. He's going to pick his head back up, and after he picks his head back up, he's going to shoot the left side of the floor with, I believe it's arcane, and then basically rinse and repeat before and kill him before he does the other side. Now he will laser the other side too, and then you'll have a very small area to move, and so you want to try to mow him down. If he gets all the way to the end where let's say you have really low DPS and he's getting to the end where he already has both sides with the arcane down and the timer goes up, well, he's gonna laser you nonstop, and that shit hurts. So you want to make sure you kill him as quick as you can. On this side swipe, get all the way to the left. If he does it the opposite way, then you get all the way to the right. You'll figure it out as you get hit by it a bunch. All right, that's Lazarus. Now, this dungeon is actually pretty fun in M3s, except for the last boss fight. It's probably one of the favorited dungeons by everybody. So just keep in mind, it will be more fun as you're running it and doing it. It won't look as easy just with like 3 people because you'll be lower gear set, not as experienced, and people will kind of be doing their own thing. But that's Laz, and I'm going to be finishing out the series. We got some more dungeons to do. If you hadn't seen already, I've done Amarine, Starstone, Depths, Genesis, and Dynasty. And so I'm not sure which one we're on to next, but make sure you check out that video. If you like this one, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video series. If you have an idea for a video, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I will respond back to all comments. All right. Thank y'all very much. This is Bebop. Shiggity giggity bop. Having a shop. Giggity 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 giggity. Later, guys.